Kylie Bartel.
And I'm Alicia Bradburn.
And we are the co-hosts of the Horseman's Hot Seat at Horse Expo Canada.
Yes. So the Horseman's Hot Seat is a fun addition to Horse Expo that came about last year. It's basically to give attendees a better overall idea of who the clinicians are. I feel like something's missed in just coming to a clinic and not maybe getting to know that person's heart a little bit better, their principles, of course, all of the good horse information as well. But when we get to sit down together and come together over the Horseman's Hot Seat, we find out more, and that's what it's about, digging a little bit deeper.
Yeah. So today we have Alex Grayton with us. Thanks so much for being with us here today, Alex. We're so excited to hear a little more from you as we all are getting ready for Expo coming up really quickly. So to kick us off, do you mind, just for the folks at home, if they're not as familiar with you, letting them know who you are in the horse industry, and what is your mission in the horse industry?
Yeah, for sure. Thanks so much. It's nice to see you guys. I'm looking forward to the Horse Expo and sharing a little bit more about my passion, which is show jumping, as you alluded to. So I am a high performance rider, head trainer, in charge of sales and development of the horse program at Spruce Meadows, which is the world-renowned show jumping facility right here in Calgary. I've been here for 2 years in this role, and before that, I ran a training and sales operation out of my family farm in Priddis, which is just down the road, for about 15 years, where we focused a lot on the development and sale of promising young horses for show jumping. And as part of that, luckily for me anyway, competing was a really big part of it. So, we would get these young horses in, we would train them, we would learn how they worked and try to work with them to produce them for the show jumping market. And compete them along the way. And sometimes we would have some really special horses that jumped some really big jumps and did some really fun things. And we sold those horses to go on to some very big jobs around North America. And so luckily I'm doing a very similar thing here at Spruce Meadows, where our focus is really on being one of the premier destinations, not only for show jumping as a venue, but also our breeding program and our young horse program coming up through the ranks to produce really top horses for the sport. So I hope that answers the question, that my passion is really all about show jumping, but all the phases of it. I really enjoy working with the young horses and being part of them, from the very beginning, from when they're learning to do their very first things with people, breaking them in, getting them all the new experiences, getting to know the horses from the very beginning is I think very helpful, especially at the later stages when we're asking them to do some pretty extraordinary things. Then kind of we have a really long-standing partnership. So my passion is it's certainly in the development for top sport.
That's amazing. Even as you're describing your being at Spruce Meadows for the last 2 years, I remember the first time I got to visit Spruce Meadows when I was only 10 years old, and I was absolutely starstruck when I got to walk down and see, like, this is the very turf where there's the Devil's Dyke and all the things, and it was just that incredible memory, and it's something, growing up watching on TV. Actually, Alicia and I have backgrounds in English riding and jumping in our younger childhood years, and now have found some more passions for cattle work in the Western traditions, and just basically the horse across the board has really gotten us excited. But we were just really excited to hear from you, and it's especially cool to hear that Spruce Meadows connection and how you've come to be there. It's been a long road that you've really built up your way to getting to there. So.
For sure, but we are so fortunate to have a venue like Spruce Meadows in our backyard. I mean, I wouldn't be doing this if not for Spruce Meadows. Like, from a non-horsey background, my family not at all with horses, and my first exposure, much like you're saying, was sitting on the great big hill in the Derby field watching Ian Miller and Big Ben, and that was sort of ignited the passion. And it's interesting, especially looking back, to sort of trace all of these key moments. A few years ago, I actually worked for Ian. I was a student of Ian 15 years ago, there for a year and a half. My wife and I were, and then during COVID, actually, we were showing in Florida and COVID happened, and everyone was running for the hills or trying to figure out what to do and what this meant for everything. And very fortunately, Ian and Millbrook Farm hired my wife and I. We were trainers there for a year and a half as well. So, this was that was a crazy cool full circle moment for myself.
Yeah.
I did book reports on Big Ben, and I have all the memorabilia, and so that, and then, and that's all thanks.
What's that?
That's all thanks to Spruce Meadows and Big Ben and Ian, and that really ignited everything for me. And now, fast forward a couple years since working for Millbrook, and here I am working at Spruce Meadows itself. So it's wild the way it works.
Wild full circle. Even as you're describing it, I know on my bookshelf where my childhood favorite book is with Ian and Big Ben's picture. Like I could go find it if I went and stopped by my parents' house. So it's just so cool to see those common threads and just that inspiration is so huge, right? Like sometimes it helps give us permission to dream big for our own lives and our own careers. So that's
absolutely.
Yeah, and this is really cool that this is reading on your website, which is lovely, by the way.
Yeah.
And getting to see that this is an effort with you and your wife. It's very inspiring too to have a husband and wife team in the industry. Most times it's one.
Yeah, exactly. Well, thank you for the compliment on the website. My wife in her previous career was a graphic designer and big in media. She had a publication. She published Show Jumping magazine for a number of years, and she's also a world-class photographer and worked for some of the biggest horse shows in the world. And so she's very fortunate to have
that. Adds up. That there it is.
I was wow.
So it's nice to draw on all of those experiences, and for the past number of years, Holly and I have we've ran our family business since 2008. We've been involved in one way or the other, and as I say, we were lucky to go and work for Millbrook together, and we've been all over the world doing this. Spent summers in Europe showing, sourcing young horses, teaching clinics here, there, and everywhere, and it's been really quite special. We've both sort of grown up and evolved in the sport as well together from our various backgrounds. My wife was from a horsey family, and her father was a blacksmith, and her mother rode and drove standard breds on the track when she was younger, but my wife was actually quite late coming into show jumping. She actually focused quite a bit more on dressage until she moved to Calgary, and then she worked for Jonathan Aslin, an Olympian who used to work at Spruce Meadows, and so that's actually how we met, was at his place. And all of these little moments are just fascinating to look back on. That if not for that, would I even be here? It's pretty special. So.
That's awesome.
So cool. Very exciting, and exciting that Horse Expo was able to get this caliber of talent. We're excited to have you.
Oh, I'm really looking forward to coming. I really like I like following everything with Horse Expo, and I really like clinic opportunities, especially something like this where there's obviously a diversity of horse people coming. So we're going to talk to some people that maybe don't know about show jumping and see if we can draw in some new fans to come to Spruce Meadows and get the passion ignited, or, even just answer some questions that people didn't know about. So
it's a big stage.
Absolutely.
On that note, what do you hope that Horse Expo attendees will take away from watching you at Horse Expo Canada this year?
I'm looking forward to working with a nice group of riders and horses, and hoping that can be a useful tool to demonstrate some stuff about show jumping and developing horses, and some of the thought processes that we have when we're doing our daily training, and to discuss some of the technical aspects that we know we're going to face in the show jumping world. That's one of the unique things about our world. I know there are a lot of other horse sports that experience it, but not all of them do, where we're training at home for something that we just simply don't know in advance what the tests are going to be. We're not riding a pattern that we've already seen before, where everything about it is built on sort of newness and surprise. We know some of the elements. And so I'm hoping to be able to sort of explain that or demonstrate that to a nice group of people watching, that how it is that we can maybe consider all of the factors that we need to know, what it is that we look for in our horses, what is important for us as riders to keep in mind as we're going, because the whole thing is it's built around the horse, and being able to understand and appreciate the things that they can do and how magical it is that any of this actually works, and how much they love doing it themselves. So
yeah, I get so excited for just seeing how that's all going to come together, because, you know, even as you're just describing, yeah, it's all about the horse. We're all coming around the horse and trying to really empower them to shine and show what they can do in a way that feels good to them and feels good to everyone in the midst of it. You know, it's high stakes when you can't ride the pattern in advance, where there's that element of surprise, but it really promotes not just a skill set, but a mentality for problem solving on the fly. So
that's exactly right. Yep,
yeah,
for sure.
Amazing. So great. So that's all we're going to give everyone for today, because we are so excited for them to come and hear from you at your clinics and in the Horseman's Hot Seat at Expo, where we'll get a chance to dig deeper into some more questions as well. Thank you so much, Alex, for coming on today and for sharing some of your thoughts with us. And we look forward to hearing more from you at Expo this year.
Thanks so much for having me, and looking forward to seeing everyone up there.